You must know who your audience is, whether it's one person or 1,000 persons, whether it's in a virtual meeting or whether it's in an in person meeting. Show up here the way you show up if you were sitting across the table from the person. Speak here the way you speak if you're having early breakfast with the person. That is a skill to learn. My conversation is more about this interactive virtual versus recording and just putting it out. There is a difference there. But you have to learn to read the room in both. Do you see what I'm seeing? Or do you see what I'm saying? Each platform has its own language. It's exactly the same as each profession, each part of an organization has its own language. It's not the recipient's responsibility, it's the sender's responsibility. We learned that day one in technology. The second thing we learned was garbage in, garbage out. I was listening to someone yesterday talk about learning to prompt. If you've been terrible at asking questions, learning to prompt will help you because it's all about getting very crystal clear on the question you're asking so that the recipient then knows enough to be able to respond to you. To me, engagement is the same. If I want the person to respond, I need to ask a clear enough question or make a clear enough statement that invite them to respond. Old-fashioned writing and having your own voice is still relevant. We will have a very similar concept, or we will have a fact because the fact is the fact. The way we express that fact, however, will be different. We come from different backgrounds. We have different education. We have different life experiences, all of which influences the way we express that thought, that idea, that concept, even the fact. And using an LLM and simply spitting back out whatever it says removes you. You've got to have you in it. People resonate with people. You can teach people to tell stories, but I'm going to take it one step a little deeper. The more the stories are ones you've experienced, you don't have to do so much work. Your experience is your experience, right? So when you can tell a story about having to show up at midnight because you're dealing with a client issue and the client is frustrated and you have to maintain your composure to get through this challenge with this client. When that's your story and you've lived it, I can visualize the exact scenario and who I was talking to and what it sounded like. Or another, learning to be a woman in a very male dominated industry. When you have people who are locked in on what you're saying, how you're saying it, and they're getting out of it what they need to move from where they are to where they want to go, there's a magic that you can't replicate in that. There is a joy that comes from just saying, I was able to do my part to help transform this person, which is exactly what I do on my channel and in my written content. Because it's where I live. In all of this technology stuff, that's secondary because it comes and goes. It changes. I've seen too much change. But that transformation that happens when a person understands how they function, magical. Magical. People learn in different ways. Therefore, it is imperative that we deliver the content the facilitation in different ways. Some may need to hear music. Some may need to read a long form newsletter. Some may need to read tweets. Some may need to watch a video and then sit in a class or the reverse. Some may need to sit across the table from you and have the interaction. Some may need to sit in a crowd and they're soaking up the information. Here's the key: all of that goes out the window if the person is not first willing to take action. Because you can pour and pour and pour and pour. Person has to be willing to take action. You cannot help a person who does not recognize that they need help and are willing to accept it. Because it has to start with the person and they have to be willing to take action. You can deliver in the modalities that the person can receive it and then take the action. But that means you have to have developed the communicator. Sometimes the best way for me to break through is to create something. And when I first have the conversation, no questions, I just say, hey, take a look at this and give me some feedback. You know why? Many people can tell you what they don't like by seeing what you give them faster than they can tell you what it is they want. They can look at anything, a meal, a deck, an image, or a document, and they can say, that's not what I want. I want this, this, and this. And you get to the answer faster by giving them something to respond to. Everything we do comes back to communication, conveying ideas, messages, thoughts effectively for the person they're intended to reach. What you say when you talk to yourself. Everyone should read that book. Everyone should read that book. What you say when you talk to yourself is so much more powerful than what anyone else will say. If I'm still repeating in my head, I can't, I won't, it's too hard, you want me to keep going? All of her work is not going to go anywhere. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to take action. I'm not going to take action. Because I don't believe it. And I'm not even saying to myself, let me try a little, just try a little bit, not a whole bunch. One tiny step. The main thing is people have to be willing to take imperfect action. And that, I think, stops so many people. They have this unrealistic view of what perfect is. There are no perfect people. They don't exist. Every time we do something, we get a little bit better. So just go do the thing. If you want to learn to write, start writing terrible. Eventually, you'll get better. But write something. You're not going to learn how to do anything unless you start doing it. And be willing to do it terrible and just keep going. You got to believe it. And that belief comes from, what are you saying to yourself? I have a habit that I've had since I was in my 20s. Every day, I write down a win. Some days it's, I didn't burn the eggs. That's my win. Some days it's, I signed a great deal. You're recognizing you're winning. I wrote something to my community, I think it was yesterday, about this habit. And it came from in my 20s, in this very non-woman industry, giving myself pep talks. But I started doing it shortly after I read the book, What You Say When You Talk to Yourself. One of the biggest communities in the world are houses of worship. They're all stripes, sizes, but houses of worship, those are communities that are built. Today, they have their physical presence and their online presence. I submit they're content creators. Somebody standing up creating content every week, multiple times a week. they're not yet at the place where they understand really, I don't think, building this online digital community that's not a Facebook. Facebook can make a decision as a corporation to do something totally not supportive of where they're going. Their community members are, and we can extrapolate this to us as individual business owners, have too many other things that are distractions when they're in these public spaces. So they're not focused on the thing we're trying to help them be transformative about. If you can get them out of that, then you can have, I believe, a deeper reach with them. I'm going to encourage everyone who wants to grow their business, be willing to invest in growing themselves. Everyone is at a different place with respect to that. So I'm not trying to spend anybody's paycheck. For whatever that is for you where you are, be willing to invest something in yourself. Gone are the days when you went to a company and you worked 8 hours a day, and if they wanted you to be trained, they would give you 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, 2 weeks to go off and not produce the thing you're supposed to be producing to be trained. That train has left the station, it is not coming back. So even if you're employed and you're, as I call it, bivocational, in both worlds, it's imperative that you're willing to invest in yourself some way. Everything cannot be quote unquote free. If it is, there is a problem somewhere. Either the person is not growing themselves, and so they're repeating the same thing. They haven't leveled up, they haven't gotten to a different level of understanding, or there's a different problem. We all have the same amount of currency there. When we make it through 1,440, not a single solitary one of them can you get back. Once it's spent, it's gone. There's nothing you can do. It is the great equalizer. How people use it, what skills they have, how they've grown is the difference in that 1,440 minutes. Nothing else. You can get a whole lot of things back. You cannot get time back. And you cannot get your life back. Make the most of it for whatever that means for you.